one of the things I think about a lot. So my dad, he said that a lot. I wish I had her. And I was like, man, when I grow up, I'd rather fail and learn and screw up and try and keep trying and keep fighting rather than get older and go, I wish I had her. I wish I'd have tried that. Because you never know if you don't try. I always tell people you can't catch a fish if you ain't fishing.
Right.
That's like my redneck business sense. You know, people are afraid to make phone calls, or they're afraid to send a message, or they're afraid to ask questions, or they're afraid to try things. I'm like, or even in sales, you know, I'm like, people are like, oh, my sales volume's down. I'm like, well, how many phone calls you make? I'm like, I'm afraid to make phone calls. I'm like, but that's why your volume's down. Or like in any kind of business or the subcontractors and things that I coach, when I first get started with them, I'll ask them like, hey, what's your revenue generators? Like, how are you making money? Like, what do you do on a daily task that puts money in the business? And usually they're slim to none. And I'm like, well,
or they don't know.
Or they don't know. And I'm like, that's a big problem.
Do this thing and money comes.
Yeah.
I don't know what thing it is though.
Yeah, they have the strategy of hope. And I'm like, when you get to the end of the road, hope's a good strategy to have, but there's a lot of ways you can circumvent having to just have hope in your business. But a lot of that ties down to just go fishing, go ask people, talk to people, tell them what you do. I made a post the other day about a young man. He started a dumpster business. Wasn't the one that we found on Facebook, but a young guy started a dumpster business. He called me up. He said, man, I'm having a problem getting some revenue coming. And I asked him that question. I said, well, what are your tasks that you do to generate revenue? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, okay, have you posted on the internet? Have you called subcontract? I know people right now that need dumpsters. Have you called people? He's like, no, I don't want to make phone calls. I'm like, you realize you could put 10 grand in your pocket if you made 100 phone calls. And he's like, huh, what do I tell him? And I'm like, you just tell them that you have a dumpster company and you have 5 dumpsters available and you'd be happy to bring them to them. That's all you tell them. And they'll be like, okay, and you exchange information. But that's so true. You know, people, they don't know what those things are. So that's good stuff.